And one thing I always enjoy is the evolution of Gollum between the earliest edition of The Hobbit and the later edition of The Hobbit, and the reasons for that, which emerged as a result of Lord of the Rings. I'm going to read here a little bit from a letter that Tolkien wrote, kind of explaining this change that happens. So imagine that I have the voice of J.R.R. Tolkien, just adjust that in your head. In the original version of Chapter 5 of The Hobbit, Gollum really does intend to give Bilbo the ring when the Hobbit wins the riddle game, and is deeply apologetic when he finds that it is missing. He now quotes from the original edition of The Hobbit. "I don't know how many times Gollum begged Bilbo's pardon. He kept on saying, 'We are sorry, we didn't mean to cheat. We meant to give it our only present if it won the competition.' He even offered to catch Bilbo some nice juicy fish to eat as a consolation. Bilbo, who has the ring in his pocket, persuades Gollum to lead him out of the underground passages, which Gollum does, and the two of them part company in a civil manner."
Just unimaginable, really, isn't it?
Very different to the more enduring image of him shouting, "Baggins, thief, we hate it forever." Yes. So the reason for this was that The Hobbit was written originally as a kind of children's story. He didn't think that it was necessarily going to connect up with the mythos he'd been working on in the materials that eventually became the Silmarillion. When he wrote Lord of the Rings, his publishers were after a sequel to The Hobbit, which is why it starts out in the kind of like jovial Shire register and later evolves into the more high romantic heroism mode. And when he was trying to make retcon, I guess, the story so that they both fitted together, he realised it didn't make sense that Gollum was totally chill about giving up the ring, was in fact going to give it to Bilbo as a present. So he realised he needed to do something about this. And rather than just rewrite it and leave it be, and just say it's a textual inconsistency, Tolkien's position is that the first edition of The Hobbit is based on Bilbo's first edition of his memoirs, in which Bilbo lied about how he got the ring, and it then becomes evidence for the unwholesome power of the ring that sets to work on its new owner at once.
Wow, yeah. Like, it's such a kind of perverse logic, but it does really add up in terms of how Bilbo positions his own story.
Love it. Love that sort of deep thinking about what each narrative exists as within the world that he has created. It's really fun. One of the things that really appeals to me about Tolkien.